Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a makeup tag video called the Beauty Consumerism Tag. Now I saw this on Jen Loves Reviews channel, however the creator is 90s Love Child, and I'm going to link both channels down below so that you can check them out. I was listening to this and I was like, I'm going to embarrass myself with some of these questions, but hey, let's go ahead and do it. Why not? The very first question is, how much do you spend on makeup a month or a year? Because I claim the makeup that I buy for my YouTube channel on my taxes, I know how much I spend in a year, and you guys are going to die. Oh my gosh. All right, so I don't know this exact number because I know in my last year's taxes, I claimed my camera, which I bought last year, and then I think my light. So you subtract about 2,000. I would say around $15,000 is what I spent on makeup last year. And I know that seems like a lot. That is not something that I would spend at all. Would not do that if this was not my job, but it is my job. This is what I do for a living. I buy makeup, I review it, and it doesn't even matter, if I have a ton of the same thing, if I have 30 foundations, it's me letting you guys know how something works. So it doesn't bother me at all that I have spent that much. And this is the first year that I can actually say I made more than what I spent. All the years previous to this one, I was spending more than what I was making. But I think the fact that, I'm actually, this is my full-time job, I am able to do this, pay for my makeup and pay for my bills. So I'm not, on the struggle bus or anything with that. But yeah, that is how much money I spend on makeup in a year. And the ones previous to that, I think it was around 13, 10 once. So it was up a little bit higher last year. I think that it's going to be probably around the same this year. I was going to say maybe a little bit less because I did get more PR than ever this year, but I still, even a lot of the PR that I got, I still bought before I even knew that I was getting it in PR. So yeah, $15,000. I know, I know. I already hear you in the comments. I hear you. Do you ever feel guilty about how much you spend on makeup? I don't. And the reason why I don't is because I do it for a living. If I spent that much money on makeup and I, didn't need to, or it wasn't my job, I think I probably would. Uh, I know that whenever I wasn't doing YouTube and I was working at Mac, I spent quite a bit of money on makeup. And I would say, now I feel kind of like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But at the time, I was just really excited about makeup. But I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for my YouTube channel. Do you get FOMO related to makeup releases? Yes. Oh my gosh, I am so bad about this. I will say that I don't want something, and then I will see rave reviews or people being like, oh my gosh, you need this, da 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 da, or just not a review that I expected, and then I will be the one that goes on a hunt trying to find something. And if I miss out on it, it makes me really, really sad. I'm trying to think of one thing. And oh, yes. Okay. So the Lorac Pro, was it the number 2 or 3? I don't remember, but it was one of the Lorac palettes. And I went on eBay and I spent $100 or something, maybe even more than that. I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. I did a review on it and I was sad because people love this palette and it wasn't even that expensive to begin with. And I spent so much money on it because I was like, man, I missed out on this palette and I didn't like the palette. I gave it away. And yeah, so I try not to do that anymore unless it's something like recently I bought something on eBay that was legit, that was not in stock, and then it came back in stock, and that made me mad. That made me so mad. And yeah, it was Pat McGrath. Do you purchase or keep items simply because they are limited edition? No and yes. If it's limited edition and I don't love it, or I don't have any kind of feeling about it, no, I will give it away, or I will sell it, or I will do something. I don't keep it if I don't have an attachment to it. However, with MAC, there's a lot of items that are limited edition that I don't really even care for, but I really love the packaging and it just brings me back to my MAC days and my roots. So with MAC products, I definitely do keep things that I won't use again and or is just for the packaging. The Jeremy Scott collection, for example, I think that packaging is so cool and it just really embodies the great MAC collections about, the packaging. They could have done better with the actual quality of the eyeshadow palette, but that is definitely something I'm never getting rid of. Not because it's necessarily limited edition, but because it's nostalgic for me. Number 5, would you be willing to pay more money for a sold out product online? Obviously, I just I just kind of answered that because I've done it twice that I can remember. However, it's not something that I'm going to make a habit out of or anything like that. It would have to be pretty darn special for me to want to do that. Let's just say, for example, if my Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction, the number 5, if it was limited edition, which I don't think it is. If my mind serves me correctly, it is not limited edition. If it was limited edition and I broke it, would I be willing to pay more to get that product back? Oh yes, 100% I would do it. But for just a sold out product that I've never tried before, and it's not a gift that I was really trying to get for somebody, I don't know. I can't say that I would never do it, but I feel like it would have to be a special circumstance for me to do it because I've learned my lesson with doing that. So, yeah, not so much. Do you wish you could spend more or less? I would say I'm not uncomfortable with the amount of money I spend on makeup. It would be nice if it didn't cost as much. I'm not going to say that I wish, if the Pat McGrath palettes were 75 instead of 125, would I be mad? No. No, I would not. But I don't feel like I'm not putting myself into debt or anything like that. If I was in a situation where I was spending so much money that it was getting myself in trouble, then I would rethink things. And I definitely don't think that you should, not pay rent or put yourself into debt or anything like that for makeup. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't do that. Number 7, do you feel compelled to buy something when you see it in someone else's collection? So for me, this question is a little tricky because if I just see it in somebody else's collection, no, I don't feel a compelled to buy it. That's not a thing for me. I think the closest thing I would say would be if Kelsey had something and then I saw it and I touched it, I felt it and I played with it and I liked it, and then I would feel the need to buy it. But that's not just like seeing it. And I don't think that this question is talking about seeing a review. There's definitely many times where I've purchased things because I loved the product on somebody else. I love the way it looked or this or that. But just seeing that somebody had, let's say they're doing a collection video and I see that they have a certain palette in their collection. No, I'm not compelled to go out and get it. It doesn't work like that for me. Do you spend more during the holidays? I would be lying if I said I didn't. I think this year has been the worst. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, everything, all these, I've gotten so many text messages and emails and all these things. And I'm like, oh, well, I could use a backup of this product that I use all the time, which technically is smart because if it's a product that you're always seeing in my empties, if Tatcha's having 20% off, I should do it because in the long run, it's going to save me money. I have to say though, even brands that weren't having sales, they would have, these kits or things like that. And I'm not even talking about presents. Presents aside, just for me, yes, I find that I get suckered in. I get in the spirit. I think you're buying things for other people and you end up buying for yourself as well. At least I do. I don't know if it's just me, but I definitely spend more during the holidays. I do. I do. Question number 10. Do you have more than 10 products in your collection that you have not used in over a month? Definitely. 100%. There is no way I could use all of the products in my collection every month. Not even if I, used a different thing every single day, I still wouldn't get to them all. We're just going to go on to the next question. Have you ever been pressured to purchase something that you could not afford or did not need? No. If I can't afford it, I'm not going to buy it. Again, I'm not going to put myself in a bad situation. And if I don't need it, that kind of, I think that, and I wouldn't say pressured. I get comments sometimes where there's an item that I don't necessarily really want or I'm interested in, and I get a lot of comments saying, oh, please review this, where it's like, man, I don't really want to, but I buy it because you guys are looking for a review. And that to me, again, is just part of my job. And a lot of the times I will admit that comments of things saying, hey, check this out, I would really like to see your view on this product, end up being some of my favorite products. So I do that. Do you purchase makeup for collector purposes? I do. I do. I know a lot of people say that makeup is not a collector's item. For me, if it's pretty enough or if it's just, I don't know. I have this vision in my head that at one point I want to have a whole wall of like shadow boxes, different sizes and whatnot of my limited edition items that you can go back and look, not touch, but look and just have memories of them. But I'm not in a space right now that's large enough to do that. I just think that would be so cool. And there's definitely a lot of things in my collection that I have specifically for collector's purposes. And some of them I've actually used all of the product of, but I've kept the container because, again, shadow box, and I want to put it in there. I think it'll just be neat. And it's kind of seeing my journey through and seeing what, products I was going for, what brands I was loving. I don't know. It's an idea I've always had in my head. I think ever since my MAC days when I was purchasing the collections back then. I don't purchase as many collections from MAC now, but back then it was like every single collection I bought, I did get rid of some of them. The very last question is, in your makeup journey, have you become less or more consumeristic? I'm going to try and answer this the best way I can possibly think of, because I don't think that I have necessarily gotten more consumeristic, but my ability to buy makeup and the things that I want has become more readily accessible for me. The ratio has kind of stayed the same, but you can definitely go back a few years and I didn't buy as much, and this year I bought more. I'm just kind of taking the ratio into factor. So I would say, if you just looking at the part of if I've bought more makeup recently than I did in the past, yes. But again, ratio wise, I would say no. That is the last question. Let me know what you guys think. I tag every creator. I want to see what you guys have to say. Please check out Jen Loves Reviews and 90s LOVECHILD. Make sure you tell them that I said hello, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.